Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Solving Database Problems in Leetcode. My name's Chris, and today we'll be walking through question number 183, which is customers who never order. When we first open up our Leetcode problem, we'll see that the schema for this question is we have a table named customers, and then we have another table named orders. The customers table has the columns names ID and name. And then we also see that in our orders table, the column names are ID and customer ID. So now we're expected to write an SQL query to report all customers who never order anything. So first off, by looking at the example test case, we'll see that customer IDs from the order table are going to be useful for delineating which customers from the customers table ordered something. So we can just look at it and like which customer IDs do not show up in the orders table. And this will be a pretty straightforward example of how to select when something is not in a separate table. So when we first look at to approach this problem, we'll see that we want to select a name and we want to return that column as customers. So first we want to do select name, and that's going to be only from the customers table. So one thing you have to look at whenever you're dealing with multiple tables is if any of those tables have columns that are named the same thing. Because if so, that's an ambiguous column, and you would have to delineate which table it came from using dot notation. Since name doesn't show up in the orders table and only shows up in the customers table, we don't have to use the dot notation here because that's not an ambiguous column name. So we're going to select name, and then we want to rename that column as customer. Then we're going to do from the customers table because that is where the name column resides. And then now we have to find a way to say we want to return the name for customers which IDs don't show up in customer ID. So this is pretty straightforward. What we have to do here is a where statement. Then we can say customers dot ID, because the ID again is ambiguous since ID shows up in the customers table and the orders table. So where customers dot ID, then we can say not in, because this is a pretty useful thing about SQL. We can say in or not in to say we're looking for this certain thing and we want to limit them down by whether it's in a different column or not in another column. So in this case, we're going to use the not in, which is just stacking those two keywords. Not you can use with multiple other things that aren't exactly with in, but you can use not in together to return things where rows don't appear in this other column. So where customer ID not or customers dot ID not in, and then we can just do select, and this is just another select statement because we're going to try to get at those customer IDs. And then we're going to do customer ID from orders. And then this should suffice because what we're doing is selecting all the customer IDs from orders, which is this little select statement here. And what that select statement is going to do is just return, in this example, 3 and 1. And it's just going to give us a column with those two numbers in it. And then we're reminded that we want to return those who don't order anything. So what we're going to see here is we want the customer IDs where they're not in that little column where it's going to return 3 and 1. So we're going to get the IDs from customers where they don't equal 3 and 1. And then that's what this where statement does. And then all we're going to return from that is just the name of the customer. So if we run this code, we'll see that we get Henry and Max. Oh, and we're given a wrong answer because we didn't rename this customers, we just renamed it customer. And now if we rerun the code with the fixed spelling, we'll see that it's accepted, and then this will work with all example test cases. I would like to thank you for tuning in today, and if this commentary helped you, please leave a like, and if you were to approach this problem in a different manner or would like to suggest a problem that I solve in the future, please leave that down below in the comments. And I'd just like to thank you for listening to my commentary.